a bit overwhelming for me to be on this side of the table. I feel like I should be over there. But this is what it is. It's overwhelming because we're coming to be Mechabed the Rebbe, the Sichos, and I was told to tell over my story as to how it affected my life. But before, I just want to say, I didn't obviously start off in Lubavitch, and I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. It's not so much a Lubavitcher place, and anytime. And but any place that I went, and I'll mention it through the story. I just wanted to say b'hakdama that there's no negativity whatsoever. And Adarabba, I have a lot of akarsa tov to these places. So I just wanted to say that in advance, not to imply anything negative. So I think it's appropriate to actually go back to my yichus. My zayda was from Shmuel ben Yitzchak Isaac Halevi. He was born in Romania, in Bayamari, which is near Satamari. And the way that it was, that back in those days, the best of the family members would go to yeshiva. My grandfather was not the oldest. I think he was fourth. And he had a cup. He was able to learn. So his family sent him to yeshiva. He went to Satmar, and he learned by Rabbi Yoel. Came the Holocaust, and unfortunately, after he had survived, he came to America, came to Cleveland, but he didn't keep up his Hasidic life that he had from before. But he held on to the traditional ways. So Mamela, my father, he grew up, it was in Cleveland, it was in Tells, and he would visit Tells once in a while. He was not necessarily from, but he had a bar mitzvah, he laned, he very traditional. They'd have Cholent on Shabbos, but that was go to shul. But little by little, my father came back, was Chayzer B'tshuva, when I was a child, and again, stayed in Cleveland. So, and I'm bringing this up because the Mesorah was sort of lost. We didn't have, growing up, I didn't have much of a Mesorah. But in the house, it was a very Hasidic house. My father would, way before I knew about Chabad, he'd bring over people he met in shul or in the workplace. He'd bring people over for Shabbos, for meals. And this is what we grew up with. And very much into Derech Eretz and Beit HaMechaverei. So this is the house that I grew up in. But I must say that, again, growing up in Cleveland, Chabad was the last on my list. There was no shaykhus b'chlal. And really the opposite. I felt like it was fringe, it was weird, it was extreme. There was no havamina. So I went through grade school. I went through the Hebrew Academy, which is Harav Dessler, who started this in Cleveland, the Mechtam Eliyahu's son. And then I went to Ner Yisrael, which Ner Yisrael is from Slobodka. And of course, very much into Musar and very much into Torah. But I didn't necessarily connect. Baruch Hashem, I did okay there. And again, very makar tov. I come on time to things, you'd get knashed, for a couple minutes late. They're very makbid about things like this. And it was a tremendous foundation for me. But I didn't connect to Yiddishkeit. I was doing it really just because, it was just the way that people were doing it around me. I didn't feel necessarily connected b'chlal. I went to Eretz Yisrael for 3 years. I learned in Yeshiva Beis Yisrael in Neve Yaakov, also like a very Litvisha place, and did very well there. But again, something was lacking, and I want to bring up a specific example. When I'd be learning, during Seder, there was no time for Chassidus, Chumash. Like, there's nothing, it was only Gemara. That's it. It was Nigla, even Musar, it was just a few minutes. So, for me, I connected to Chumash. I connected to Chumash and Rashi. And going through it, Mamish, and I would have to do a Chutzah Seder, and I was very much into notes, and I would take my notes, and I would go to the Alter Bachrim over there. I'd say, what's Pshat? Yaakov, he's marrying 2 sisters, or, ABCs, going through the Chumash, like, what's Pshat? What's going on? Oh, see the Ramban, I just they kind of brushed me off with these inyanim. And so I just, tzarachian. I kept it open. I tried to come up with my own mahalchim. But generally it was kept open, and I went to my Rabbeim, again, the same thing, just huge Talmidei Chachamim, but there was no, chashivas for it, at least the way I felt. I wanted to see more, I wanted to see deeper. So, to go weiter, I got married, came back to Cleveland, and in the andere Welt, so you see it a lot. I saw a lot of friends like this. You leave yeshiva, and you start to go away from your yeshiva days. Like the yeshiva day it's like the pinnacle, it's the climax, it's the top. And then after that, it's like, you gotta hold on for dear life. And that's what I was doing. I was just trying to, I was kaveitim, fine. But again, just kind of holding on. And luckily, there's Alexander Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael. He has a brother who moved to Cleveland. And he started a shtibel. And it was amazing for me. I was able to find some Chasidische Warmkeit, something to connect to, but I still was very stuck in my ways. There were times that the Chassidim over there would say, "No, learn shtickle Chassidus." I said, I'll do that when I'm 40. I gotta be ready. I gotta finish Shas, Paiskim, I gotta go through everything before I start. I saw if I bring him by the Rebbe, he'll never start, it's that's how it is. But this is what I was taught, and I was like, it's too much for me. So I just kept going. I just kept doing my thing. I would watch how they would be, and it was mushba on me just from being around it, but not for me. The Alexander Rebbe from Cleveland, one of his daughters married Lubavitch. Yeah. Married a Lubavitcher. And he, actually even before that, there was a chassid there that, for fun, this was right around COVID time, maybe a little bit before, gave me a book to read on the Rebbe. And I was just, everyone was bored at home and, keeping busy, and he gives me this book. I heard, I don't really know the politics, but I heard that this is a book that's frowned upon. And he gives me the book and he says, you'll enjoy this, in a funny way. And I said, okay, I'll look at it, I'll read it. Mamish, I started reading it and I was floored. I couldn't, there was not enough time in the day. I was just reading. I couldn't put it down. And I, like, stunned. I was like, yeah. And so I had to read another one. I read another book, another one on the Rebbe, another biography, probably like five. 5 in a row. I couldn't stop. And a lot of it's repetition, but I just had to keep. But I had kashas. Like, I grew up in a world that wasn't so excited about the Rebbe, to say the least. And you're fed a lot of these questions and these tainas. And so I spoke to the son-in-law from Alexander, Rav Avrami. And he's a Talmud Chacham, and he knows. And he saw that I was ernst about it. I wasn't coming at Lubavitch. I wanted to know what's with this, what's with that, what's with this, So we sat down, we learned, we looked at the Rambam, we started like really getting into the Teichen. Until finally he said, I think it's time to learn the Sichos. And I said, okay, whatever. He bought me a set. It's the maroon set. I don't know what it's called. It's a 5 or 6 volume. The Kutei Sichos. It's like an Eitzer. I don't know. Yeah. And I remember I was even out of town at the time. I wanted to keep the Chavrusa the first time. It was Menias Mamish. And we sat down and we learned over the phone. Ever since then, I can't put it down. I don't put this, like, on the way here, I brought the same set with me. I'm going over it a few times already by now, but the Sichos, they changed my life. It was a total game change. All the notes that I was mentioning before, they were all coming to life. The kashas that I asked. The Rebbe, shtel on it, a ganze sicha, a hayra at the end, to change your life. And the hayra is not just, it's limud amanas lasos. When I was thinking about what I was going to say tonight, I remembered, and it's uncomfortable to be saying these things in Befarhesia, but at Erev Shabbos, I would learn the Sichos, and I would get emotional. I was like, here we go again. He's asking my kasha. He's making a whole mahalach on it. I knew what he was going to ask. I knew he was going to answer. And I was just like, this is just, it's beyond. So I had to make a change. It was pashut. I felt at home. I felt at home with the Rebbe. It wasn't the Sichos, it wasn't the Farbrengens, it wasn't the Hasidim necessarily. Again, the Hasidim are Hamish Gevalt, but I'm saying it was nothing, it was the Rebbe and the Sichos, and the Rebbe through the Sichos. The Rashi Sichos, for me it's all one. My children, they started lighting Erev Shabbos. I have 6 girls, and they light Erev Shabbos. And it's from the Sichos. I didn't know the Minhagim. I just saw, this is what the Rebbe is saying. This is what we got to do. I didn't have the fortune to learn in Crown Heights. But I learned the Sichos, and this is how I was able to make change. And even more, this is about a 5-year process. And I think it's important at this point just to be makar tov to my wife and to my children. It's not easy to make a change like this, so drastic, in the middle of, we were married 10 years. And for her to be mekabel and to make the change. We're both very dramatic people. We're very mellow, we're very calm, and we did it very slow. One thing at a time, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. Now she's in a Tanya shir, and of course we start Nusachari. We took all the main things on already by now, but it's a total life changer. But I was thinking, and this hit me already a few years ago, after after I came off the cloud for a second. Now what? You learn the Sichos, you start learning the Maimarim. Now what? Now you have to do B'poil. You have to be a chassid of the Rebbe, a real chassid. And that's the true Avodah. To make the change was easy compared to being a real chassid. Chassid is Torah, Avodah, Ugmilas Chasadim. There's nothing in between. It's not just Torah. It's not just Chesed. It's not just Tefillah. It's everything. It's how could we have Guf and Neshama? You have to have both. They're both important. I used to feel that the Guf was nothing, to put it down. But it's the opposite. You have to use the Guf the way that you use the Neshama. They have to work together. The Gashmias with the Ruchnias. And all the steers, they're not steers anymore. So this is the Indian, is to take the Sichos, to take what we learn. We see, last week's Parsha, as the Rebbe brings all the time, the koyach of the following week is from the Shabbos from before, so we could still talk Parsha Shlach. Parsha Shlach, it's the Rebbe kochts. In the Sichos, we learned the Maimer also by us. It's all about what was the issue with the Meraglim? They were tzaddikim, they were Nesiim. What's pshat? They wanted to stay in the Midbar. They had the Mon, they had the Ber Miriam, they had the Hananiah Kavod. They could just sit and learn. They could do just very easy. Go through life like this. But it's the opposite. It's to work Eretz Yisrael, B'poil, B'gashmias, together with the Ruchnias. And so this is Indian. So this is where I'm holding. If you invite me back in a few years, we'll see. I can let you know, but, yeah. But, so this is the Indian, is that, to learn the Sichos, as it did for me, it changed my life. And to bring it down as a dear b'tachtoinim, and may we go mechoil to bring the Mashiach to the kingdom b'mher v'menu.